Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Indigo Tarot Odyssey. Today we have a special Odyssey for you. It is Eleni's Art Appreciation Week. So what we're doing is we return to Eleni's art studio where all her works of art are, and we're going to incorporate it with a really great pick a card extravaganza. Who is fantasizing about me, and what is their fantasy? What is their fantasy? And partly the art that we chose really plays into that. It has a lot of sensuality, it has a lot of feeling, it has a lot of depth, and it's beautiful and ideal for this. So what we're going to do is we have 6 cards to choose from right now. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, keeping that in mind, and this is how we're going to incorporate the art. These are the cards that Eleni and I are collaborating on to make into our oracle deck. So we just took photographs the other night, and now we have them in postcard size. There are mock-ups for what are going to be our cards. So we wanted you guys to be able to experience some of the art today in the read, because talk about passion and voluptuousness and sensuality, they incorporate all of that. So what we're going to do is we're going to let you choose your deck by the work of art that speaks to you. And we're going to also show you the larger print as well as we do that. So first I'm going to just let you look at that and pick it. And then when I start your packet, I'm going to have Ian bring me over the large picture so you can really get the flavor of it. So number 1 will be, just so you can start to pick your deck, is this right here. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to hold it out to you. We got so many beautiful comments on this, you guys. Thank you very much. Yeah, her use of yellow in these, and Ian's going to bring over the art so we can see the pieces. That's going to be number 1. Right here, as you can see. Yeah, look at that, the beautiful sensualness to it. Okay, so that's going to be number 1, which we love. And we're going to get all the titles for you guys, but we just wanted you to be able to experience this today. And number 2, for a choice you have right here too. Flowers growing out of your behind. We all know those people, right? And here's the large print of that. I love that. And she has the little broken heart on her cheek. It's all a lot of this is symbolic. And when later, Eleni is going to come on camera and discuss a few of the works and where she was at that time and what her inspiration was. Okay, and then number 3, if you want to choose number 3, it's going to be this right here. Instead of eyes in the back of your head, the eyes have moved down a little bit. I love this. And her uses of yellow, like nobody can blend those yellows and oranges and reds. They're so beautiful. And these are going to be part of our deck when we create it. So again, if you guys want to pop over to our Patreon page, feel free, because we're getting this in motion very quickly. This is a lot of your favorites, and I really want to thank you guys for your lovely comments, because this does evoke like some childhood memories of the wood filled with fireflies and fairies. That's why I'm incorporating fairies in today's read. This right here, I used to carry this book around with me all the time to my job, because I love Brian Froud and his whole, I just wanted to hold up that copy so you saw that. So that's going to be number 4, the forest and the fireflies. And number 5 is going to be the lady walking in her high shoes. Look at that. Isn't that great with her bikini bottoms? I love that. Beautiful, right? A lot of personality and a lot of character in it. Beautiful. Okay. And then lastly, for number 6, pile number 6, we have Eve in the garden, which is lovely, and the blades of grass on her and the red that surrounds her. This is super sensuous. I love this. And the snake raveled around her arm. Yeah, and I love the fact that some of it is gloss and then some of it is matte. It's a very beautiful contrast. Yeah, lovely. Okay, so you guys, I hope you made your choices. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're going to be starting over here. Again, if you need a little update, is who is fantasizing about me and what is their fantasy? Because again, as I've been saying on some of my other reads, in November, Jupiter comes into Sagittarius, and that is the house of gifts, blessing, love, all those romantic things you want, whatever you consider abundance. And for most people, it is right a rich love life, spiritual answers, balance, good friends. It's holiday time. Here in the US, it's our Thanksgiving, and a lot of people get together in their families. It's about relaxation, time off work, things like that. So we're going to begin with stack number 1. Okay, let's see. And I'm going to start with the fairy oracle cards on each one, because this has some of the most profound writing in it. So let's start with number 1. You know what? We already did that. Okay, so for number 1, it's Epona's wild daughter. I just read this verse when I saw it too. His writer in his book, her name is Jessica Macbeth, and she's a phenomenal force to be reckoned with. Her verse and her prose is so rich that one of them I was reading this morning, I just started to cry. And hopefully one of those cards come up, because it was the most simplest premise to human behavior and why we should or shouldn't behave a certain way and how it affects us spiritually. I love this too. Epona's wild daughter. The inner shadows are nightmares, depression, madness, and growth. In the bleakest part of the night, Dorcha comes wearing her crown of fairy stars. She kneels in the ancient owl bearer of the hidden wisdom of the night, and facing the past with clear, unflinching gaze, she holds us. We are held immobile, inwardly focused by her comforting yet implacable light-filled hands. She asks riddles that often seem impossible to answer at first, and yet she will not let us go until we find the solutions within ourselves. She is one of the greatest teachers of fairy, but her method of teaching makes Socrates' questions look like child's play. We must expect that Dorcha, because her lessons are about the shadow sides of ourselves, the things we fear, our insecurities, our self-doubts and denials. She is the practitioner of tough love therapy. Dorcha is the wild daughter of Epona, lady of the horse and the moon. She takes us through the dark hidden side of ourselves into healing and fulfillment. From the temporary madness of rage, premenstrual tension, or great stress to the deeper and longer psychosis, she drives us on a journey through our internal hells. When we complete the journey, we are transfigured and transformed, transcending our old selves. We can never be frightened by that darkness again, whether it's our own or from others. But until that journey is fully complete, we exist in a state of vulnerability, which is where most of us are most of the time, until, we're freed of these shackles. Notice, please, that she, and not her more gentle sister, Lais, who wears the crown of stars, a mark of service and compassion and great wisdom. Dorcha's element is moonlight, the 5th element, which tempers and tests the spirit. Though her teaching, our inner conflicts and struggles become, as they are resolved, our greatest strengths appear. This is 100% true, isn't it? And this is what we're all working on right now and what we've been discussing. Our darker selves, our shadow sides. We all have a wild, untamed side that can be fractious and a little fun and stuff, but we also have something, whether it be greed, insatiability, gluttony, any of those things that could be known as the cardinal 7 sins, things like that, that we don't even know are ingrained in our psyche, and we tend to reach for these things. Lying. Some people don't know how to tell the truth because they've lied for so long. Things like that. So yeah, see what I mean? These are very hard-hitting questions. So again, when we're embarking on trying to draw love to us and fantasy and being in a fantasy world, that's of others fantasizing about us, any of those things, again, that is the key word, fantasy. I always equate fantasy with creativity and loveliness, but again, it can have a darker side where people have checked out of reality and their fantasy is their reality. So let's see what's going on. Who is fantasizing? Ooh, nice. We have the Empress, the Ace of Cups, the High Priestess, and the Four of Wands. Wow. Wow. Okay, I already know what they're fantasizing. We'll get to who it is in a moment. Okay, who these people are? They are, because this is also for a collective, there is a few scenarios here. Now, what they are fantasizing about is that you're their teacher to some degree. You're teaching them something, whether it's, the naughty nurse, the school teacher, whatever. You're their boss. They picture you in charge of them, dominating them. For whatever reason, they have, that is their fantasy. They picture you with rulers and what are those things in school? The things you point to the board at, things like that, and snapping it. A very domineering woman over them. So they picture you as someone in charge of them, whether it's a nun and they are a novice, whether you are a teacher and they are a student, whether you are a royal member of a household and they are a servant. That's what they're picturing. And again, with this too, an empress. It's the Cleopatra fantasy of you having utter power over a nation as well as them, and they are at your beck and call. Now, who these people are, and also the days of yore. This is like back, Arthurian legend too. This is all, some of them like the past as well, where you are, I hear Bodicea, things like that. You are in charge of nations and countries, so you are the end. You are the top tier, and they are simply a servant, perhaps a knight, something like that. So it's kind of juicy, y'all. Yeah. Ian, who's the lady that's naked on the horse?
Lady Godiva.
Yeah, Lady Godiva, or like a Lady Godiva type of thing. This card reminds me of that as well. So, okay, so who these people are is there's a couple group scenarios. Obviously, some coworkers. You actually have some bosses that can't approach you because of where they are in the company and the whole HR thing that would get like that. So it's just in their mind, but they definitely see you as someone who could dominate them, and they like that idea. And it's nice because they also elevate you. Socially, you're the creme de la creme. So that's always nice. But yeah, it's very passion fueled. You're calling all the shots. So it is a boss. In that, I also see a lot of you people, it's friends, significant friends of your family as well. Brothers, cousins, whatever, and you'll probably see these people around the holiday time. That is definitely something they see. But yeah, you're large and in charge, which is always nice. That is really good. So that's you guys, and that was number 1. Again, if that was you, that is really cool. So if you guys have to check out for any reason, don't forget to press like and subscribe, and go to the links below if you'd like to see any of these works of art. There is an Eleni Etsy site, and all her paintings are in there, and you can check everything out. And again, our Patreon page is now up and running to turn these into oracle cards. So that's you guys. So get out there, get your, it's Halloween. Who's dressing up as Cleopatra? Get on it. Yeah, you can be Bodicea, Eleanor of Aquitaine, any of those things, right? Lovely. Okay, this is going to be group 2. Flowers blooming out of your bazongers. You ever heard, is that even a saying, flowers grow out of your butt? Like I remember when I was younger, people saying that. Or something of that ilk, which is funny. Okay, so we're going to start with a fairy card. This is the one that made me cry. I knew it was going to come up. I asked for it, and I was like, this lesson, I posted this on Facebook because it was so profound. It made me cry for all the times that I had behaved this way. It's called the Soul Shrinker, and it's so profound. I'm just going to read it, and I'll tell you why it made me cry, because I remember I worked with a narcissist for an entire year. She wasn't there for the whole year, but something had happened in her childhood, and she just had a lot of money, and she was bored, and she was a complete narcissist, and she created chaos. So I would, instead of just get on with my day and my life and my work, because she also wouldn't work, so I'd do hers, I would just start talking shit. And that's what the Soul Shrinker is. Someone who you let, in fact, my ears are ringing right now because it is my guide saying, bring it down. I would bring this back home to my family because it was so upsetting to me. This is extremely profound. The Soul Shrinker is about cruelty, malice, gossip, curses, and destruction, and then blessing. The distasteful task of the Soul Shrinker is to observe what we say about others, especially the mean, nasty, and not unnecessarily critical things. By observing our behavior this way, he reflects it back to us, making us more aware of it. This is the Bodha Vista, a spiritual being devoted to help bring about the enlightenment of all. The type of job, and it requires great compassion, understanding, and forgiveness, is the Soul Shrinker himself. And he is not to be dragged down to our level. If we were just inwardly spluttering, looking for words, he may suggest to us a few words to express our feelings and our energy. Then it is our choice, our test, whether we say it or not. There's 2 important things about malicious gossip, unnecessary criticism, and verbal cruelty, sarcasm, or scoring off of others. One is that it demeans the speaker. It makes him less. It makes his aura darker, and it encourages it as a habit, continually eroding at the brightness and potential goodness of the speaker. The other important thing is, this is actually how we curse others. This is what made me cry, because I was like, oh my God, I remember bad things happening to her because it was that times 10, like she started cutting herself and having accidents and things, and it made me scared because I'm like, yeah, there are energies that move with malice as well as good, right? So even if the recipient doesn't hear the actual words or blessing or curse, if the words are not spoken aloud, they are carried as discordant notes through ecstasis' song of the universe to the recipient. Fortunately, this is not all there is to such behavior. It would be unforgivably wicked, nor is it pretty nearly that anyway. We all have a choice about whether we accept curses or blessings. This is really beautiful. If we choose not to accept it, then all of the energy boomerangs back to the center where it is well deserved, a double dose of it. So our understanding of this is pretty profound, right? That when we engage in that energy that sucks us down, it dims our light, it dims our aura, it dims our vibration, everything, because we're partaking in the lowest form of communication. We're not here to observe and criticize other people. We can observe them and talk them up and lift them up. That elevates us. And again, look at this. And there's another part in the book, but it goes on a bit lengthy, saying that he becomes uglier and uglier the more we talk badly about one another, more troll-like. However, when we talk kindness and love and acceptance and spirituality, he becomes to be beautiful. Just like, do you remember that that thing about the babysitter, and she started all ugly like a witch, and then as the family got better, she appeared more beautiful? It was with Emma Thompson. It was really good. The same thing with this, right? So catch yourselves. Please, please catch yourselves. I have to do it all the time when I get aggravated. You feel yourself sinking into that. You feel tired and icky, right? Just be like, it's not important. If that person chooses to live that way, let that boomerang back to them and they can get their double dose, right? Because you want to know who's fantasizing about you. That's important. 8 of Wands. This is a fire sign, I feel like. You know, Sagittarius, Aries, Leo. 4 of Cups. 5 of Pentacles. 9 of Swords. Okay, again, I'm going to do like I did before. What they are fantasizing, that message usually comes first before. Hopefully they're not fantasizing that, because that wouldn't be easy to carry off for any length of time. It is weird. It's like, I've read some, you know, when you try to read and find out like real life fantasies, like you ever watch those documentaries and you're like, wow, who would even think of that? Like you wouldn't even think they like dressing up like stuffed animals or some crazy shit like that. I do not know. I mean, I have an active imagination, but I don't want to be like a Pikachu. Okay. So who these people are. Some of these, they are customers or clients of yours that you spend time with. Some of you I see in the medical field, they are your patients. It's something about how you heal and help them, dental as well. If you're in the dental, medical, psychology, also readers, clairvoyants, people like that. These are your clients. Because you're bringing healing energy to them, they like that energy, and it's translating to health, happiness, healing. And what it also is, it's enriching their fantasy life. You are actually helping them with that, but they fantasize about you. In one of the scenarios is a captivity scenario. They rescue from something. You're in some kind of dungeon, you're in some kind of prison, you're in some kind of place, and they come to your rescue and they help deliver you from that, and then you make sweet, sweet love like one always does. Another one is they picture you as one of the characters in Game of Thrones. You are either, you know, one of the girls from Winterfell, something of that nature. I picture that heavily, especially if you have red hair. A lot of people have those fantasies about the eldest daughter and stuff like that, for sure. Another scenario, funnily enough, again, is be careful around Halloween, because again, they picture you as a foreign queen, a foreign king, somebody, again, with an elevated position in society. And what goes now too, again, is you're domineering, you have control over them, you're calling the shots, like, you're calling the peasant in from the field and they have to become subservient to your every wish. And the other one is after they rescue you, of course, you're super, super grateful, right? So that's the fantasy. And these people, again, are your clients or your patients. This, I feel, is a medical and mental health field group. So that's you guys. Very nice. So, very good. It's really good. Okay, if you guys have to leave for whatever reason, don't forget to like and press subscribe. Press it now. Check all the links below. All the artwork is on Eleni's Etsy link, that's on there as well. Press that. The Patreon page is there if you guys want to donate towards our project of turning these into oracle cards. If you need a private read, whatever, all my links are there. So that's you guys. That's really good. That's fantastical. And this is only, I don't want you to be frightened by the soul shrinker. That's not saying you are this person. This is a shot off the bow saying when you engage in this behavior, the soul shrinker will come. And again, remember, you can curse people with your words and you dim your own light. There's not enough time in the day to really even be doing that, right? There's too much great stuff going on. You could be with your children, your friends, having a great meal, looking at art, painting, going and collecting art, collecting Eleni's art. We don't need to speak ill of others. It's not our place, for sure. That's you guys. Beautiful. And now is number 3. Eyes in the back of the cheeks. I love that. Isn't that great? Like the silhouette. Beautiful. That yellow. I find yellow is, oh, it's just, it just revs me up. I was a little tired before and then I started looking at the painting. This is another one. The angels, again, fairies are my thing because I do believe that it's as simple as like if a gnome or a fairy breaks like a vase, the pieces fall into patterns of great significance. Things like that. I have so much sparkle, glitter, and jewelry all over my room. I believe fairies inhabit that because shit is always gone and I'm not taking it and stuff's always mixed up. It could be the cat, I don't know, but I've always believed in them. I believe in woodland critters. These things I can't explain, but I definitely do. I have a connection to them. And I support all connections. There's a web of light between all beings. Past, present, future, all of that. And honesty, this is another one that almost brought me to tears. These are ones I read and wrote about this morning because they touched me so much. And look at his face. Look at him. Just the little sparks of light that come off you. And this is another thing about Eleni's art. I love it. She is very into protecting the world and our environment. And fairies are our environment, right? So honesty, compassion, tact, and self-deceit. Just look at him. Could you doubt for a moment that he sees you any different than the way you are and doesn't love you anyway? Of course he does. In plant form, which is how we may see him most often, honesty makes lovely purple flowers in the spring, and later on he produces those silvery white circular seed pods, like the small images of the full moon. These little earth moon seed pods remind us to reflect upon our reactions and feelings, to throw light into our darkness, and to deal, yeah, I can almost pretend I can see without these. That's not happening. Our reactions and feelings, to throw light on our darknesses and to deal honestly with ourselves and others. Honesty's other botanical names are moonwort, satin flower, silver dollar, moneywort, dollar plant, penny flower, bulbanac. On Monday and moon's days, he is Lunaria annua. Honesty is said to repel monsters. I don't have any monsters handy to check this out on, but I can certainly see a metaphorical truth in it. He is also known as the Anshu, the horse. This is the best line in the history of anything I've ever read. Because of his habit of anshoeing horses who tread upon him, a very fairy thing to do, and who can blame him, he is said to have collected 30 horseshoes from the horses of the Earl of Essex on the White Downs of Devonshire, near Tivertown. Let that be a lesson to you not to tread on honesty underfoot. Isn't that so beautiful? I read this morning, I was laughing and laughing. See, this is our truth, right? Fairies, I do believe in fairies and stuff. And again, when we want to, oh, this is another reason I wanted to add this and it came to me. I'm like, thank God for my guides because I can't remember all this information on my own. One of the things that I just learned is what's coming up. I was listening to a woman, I trust her intuition so much. She's saying what's happening around Thanksgiving time, the way things are positioning, and with Jupiter and Sagittarius and it's expansive, people are going to start to exaggerate on a very large scale or almost get delusional to the point when they're telling their stories, they are on truths, but they're telling them in such a believable way because these people are believing their own exaggerations and lies. So sit back and watch with the calm of somebody who knows this is occurring. We don't have to interject. We don't need to correct. We're observing, right? It'll all escalate. It's something in the shift of the planets that's going to make people exaggerate and act bizarre and untruthful. But again, we don't need to be judge and jury on them, call them out, embarrass them in front of family. We simply let them have, if they feel that's what they need to do to shine and be heard, just let them do it. Okay, so we're going to see what's going on for this group. We have the Three of Swords. So who is fantasizing you? Why? And there's a lot of stuff going on. Ooh, the Emperor. I already know what this is about. Ten of Pentacles. Four of Wands. Okay, so I'm going to begin with what the fantasy is because this is very, very clear. I'm hearing you are, you're in these, there's some specifics. And one of these, you are like a very, what is that? I got to think of the word of what that thing is. I got to be quiet for a minute. Ian, what are a ninja? You're a ninja, a fantastic ninja, and you're really good with those swords and the stars and all that. You are somebody of that ilk that is very agile and fast and a fantastic fighter, and they love that. And you're breaking into whatever, their ancestral home or their dojo, things like that. This is a super 300 vibe, which is funny because we just looked at a painting of this. Again, you are, you know, an amazing Spartan and warrior. And the Seven of Wands, someone of fire and action, a forge person. Also, people are thinking of you as, weirdly enough, men thinking of women as people who are forging steels and fire. And bankers, somebody in charge, more of the Medici level, you know, in the Medici in the days of old, not so new. That you are in the Medici family and you are very powerful and you hold their lives in the balance. And of course, you use that power to try to get sexy, sexy treats for them like everybody does back then. You see any show or movie, of course the people in power. The Lord of the Manor could do basically whatever he wanted in the day because life was cheap. And even if you say stole jewelry, we were just watching this program on people sent to Australia. If you stole the lady's jewelry, you could be sent to either be hanged or you could be sent to the colonies in Australia. Life was cheap back then. So yeah, the Medici, they use their power to, they don't even have to really seduce you. They just call you to them. They like to think that you want to partake in it, but they don't really care. That sort of thing. And who these people are is very interesting. They're actually friends. Some of these are friends of your family. They're brothers and sisters, friends, in-laws, friends, and people you work with. Again, especially the ones that have the Medici fantasy and things like that, where you are, you're in charge of them and their life is in your hands because you're all powerful. So that's you guys. Yeah, so at work, keep your eyes out. And the cool thing is I love that Halloween's coming up and anybody can be whatever they want to be. Yeah, and fighter, ninja, all those things, because you're very sylph-like. They see how you move. You're very agile and thin, and you move quickly, and they like that. So that's you guys. Beautiful. So if you're leaving, don't forget to like and press subscribe. All my links are down below if you need a private read, and I'm on Instantgo too if you need quick questions like you guys do on the weekends for dating. And also in the links below is Eleni's Etsy shop links, so you can go down and look at all her art and make purchases as well. And go, if you guys have time, go check out our Patreon page because we're starting to get this in development quickly because, yeah, stuff is snowballing. So don't forget to comment too and talk about the art and what you think about it and what it evokes in you. Because art is fantasy as well, right? It's the rich tapestry of life. Okay, so now we are on number 4 because remember we're on 1, 2, 3, 4. And this was the lovely Firefly work of art. I bet the majority of you, I would like to hear your comment. I bet you 9 out of 10 people chose this. So many people are saying how this particular painting evoked childhood memories of them being in the woods and or of experiencing fireflies. You know what I mean? Okay, so again, we're going to start with the Oracle Fairy card because these messages are so beautiful. And again, when we're talking about fantasy, fantasy is part of the rich tapestry of our existence. You know what I mean? It involves our 5 senses. It's what we hope people see us at times, right? And we can't live a fantasy life, but we can experience through our minds so much because it's all energy in our thoughts. And know that you can be a beautiful empress, queen, king, fighter, anything, basically anything, a famous singer, all those things. So we're going to start with the Suna. My vision is these lights after a while start to zap me. So let's see what she's about. It's funny because earlier I had studied a few of the cards and I wrote stuff down about them because they were so profound and beautiful. The first 3 cards were the first 3 that I had picked out, and I was shuffling away that I had picked out and wrote about. So I do believe in fairy magic so insanely that I don't even talk about it to people that don't understand this, because I do believe we're all energy and there are little light beings, luminous beings, you know, gnomes and keepers of the light, all those things. Ooh, this is great. I didn't read this one yet. I thought very cool. Her name is Lasguna, Sunken Treasure, Discovery of Self and Adventure. The realm of Lascuna, the frog queen, is extensive, both below and above the waters. Fairy waters are made up of human emotions, sometimes beautifully clear and sparkling, and sometimes disgustingly murky. Different fairies are attracted to different waters. You would hardly expect to find the soul shrinker or old gluminous doom happily splashing in clear sparkling waters, although you might find Nihilus the alchemist at a murky pool holding her nose as she waves her clarifying wand over it. That's so beautiful, isn't it? Most of the bright fairies avoid such places. However, Lascuna knows that there are treasures lost in disasters or abandoned to pirates to be found in the murkiest of waters. Exploration is what this card is all about. And although exploring and seeing what we really are, warts and all, the Sangha would like, I think it's Lascuna. Lascuna would like you to know that she doesn't have warts. We discover parts of our talents and potentials that have been hidden by old traumas and misunderstandings, or by lack of opportunity. Lascuna's explorations are not limited to the realm of emotions, but also include the world. She wants us to dive deeply into new experiences. Even the new experiences involve flying high, listen to different styles of music with open ears, try new tastes, look at new sights, try them all with open willingness of a child. She especially wants us to explore new ideas. Again, the five senses. Remember, that's elevating us at all time. Tasting, seeing, and hearing all that we're given. Have you ever noticed how people tend not to explore the territory they live in? How they only visit special places that they are out trying to entertain someone from out of town? We do the same thing with so many aspects of our lives, and then sometimes we grumble that life is dull. Life is always an adventure for adventurous people, and boring for boring people. There's nothing truer ever said than that. Whenever anybody says I'm boring, I just feel like going, okay, yeah. If you have a book, a phone, yourself, your imagination, think of people that are imprisoned and they can come out, they do a couple push-ups and they're still good, right? Wow, life is always adventurous for adventurous people. My grandmother told me this when I was 9, and I expect she got it from Lascuna. She also told me that if I didn't have anything interesting to do, I might as well clean up my room. I took this lesson to heart, and so can you. If life seems boring and haven't really seen before, go and do something you haven't really seen before, or jump out and do something new and interesting. I assure you, dear reader, you are not bored or a boring person. Boring people don't read books like this. For sure. We all have adventures in our mind, right? We all have films that we can identify on an epic scale, right? Like I love Fifth Element. I love Chocolat. I love all those things. Those are ideal scenarios and behaviors. Like Juliette Binoche in that movie, she is free and a gypsy, has a daughter, wants to make people happy with chocolate, things like that. That is our rich fantasy life and our adventures, right? And we can all have adventures any day. I'm serious. I've lived 1,000 lives in this one life. I don't even tell people half the things I've experienced because they would go, there's no way. And I say, so I just keep it to myself. So Queen of Cups, the Hierophant, Page of Wands, Seven of Swords. Okay, this is the fantasy part. It can always come fastest to me. I envision and I hear what that's about first, and then where it's coming from after as I'm speaking. Again, these are, people really like to go back sometimes and reflect on an age, a beautiful age, but what a lot of things that happened, like in the time of Kublai Khan and all that, because this is one of the eras somebody is fantasizing about, and the Moors and things like that, back in the Moors and the, not the Knights of the Round Table, Ian, who are the Knights of Templar? Yeah, the Knights of Templar, that's part of it too. Knights of Templar, and again, they're fantasizing, they are a Knight of Templar and they are helping free the village in the town. At some points they were stationed in France and helping the French king, and he was doing some really shady garbage with trying to expedite some of the Jewish people out of there and have them killed, and the knights would come and help them. There is about valor in life, and things like that. So in this fantasy, they are the Knight of Templar and you are helpless townspeople. And also, again, with this, the Hierophant, there's some wizardry in here. There's some War of Warcraft type of thing, or I think it's called cosplay, where people are like, I almost said puppets, but they're not puppets. They're like fantasy type people. Like when people go like that, again, they're the people from War of Warcraft, any kind of game and thing like that, or show that is popular, and they dress up. Again, they're picturing that. They're picturing again, mermaids. I'm seeing that because Halloween is coming up. Everybody is kind of going fantastical. Them on a ship, you as a mermaid. Again, the Moors, things like that. The Moors and the Christians, Knights of Templar. And with this, I'm hearing some of them. I know this sounds crazy that you're their babysitter, but you guys are adults, but you have to babysit them for some reason, and all that kind of thing. I don't know I'm not even gonna say that out loud, but that type of thing, you know what I mean? You're a good babysitter. They're naughty, naughty babies, and they need spankings. So that, and these people are, of course, what happens most times, these people, again, they are your coworkers and they are your family's friends, people, friends of friends that you meet, people in your classes. A lot of people at university, these are your classmates, and in some instances, your professors as well. Yeah, so there's all rich tapestry of all kind of things going on. You know what I mean? We've got to support all the connections in the web of lights between everybody. And again, don't ever be frightened by fantasy or look at somebody sideways because they have that. A fantasy is not an action. A fantasy is a lovely playground in your mind where you get to do things you wouldn't ordinarily do during your life, right? I'm not going to put on a diaper and run up the road singing French ballads or anything like that. That's not even my fantasy, but you know what I mean? Things that would put you in prison. We're not trying to get there, but in our mind, we can do whatever we want. That's really cool. And it's so weird because people talk about fantasies and people, like, even if Ian asked me what's your fantasy, I don't really have a crazy fantasy, you know what I mean? Like, my fantasy is like I'm out in the ocean, I get to ride dolphins, like they're like water ski stuff like that. I mean, if I put my mind to it, I'm sure I could come up with something, but for now I'm busy. So are you guys. Get busy. So come on. And Halloween is here. That's what's so good. Wouldn't you die if you just showed up to class in your little mermaid outfit and it was like woohoo? So that's you guys. Don't forget to press like and press subscribe. We got lots of great things coming. All the links are below to check out all the art, and Eleni's Etsy shop is down there too, the link for that. So go on and check out this art. Comment away. I want to hear what you guys think. We're really getting a dialogue going because we're creating these oracle cards, and the Patreon page is up if you guys want to contribute to this, because we're really getting it going. We want to get stuff to the printers. I'm the wordsmith. She already has all the art created, which is beautiful. So go check it out. Thank you. Thank you. If you need any private reads, all my information is down there too. Now we're going to go on to the really fun one. I love this. I call this Lemon Drop. I'm going to have to get all our titles, but I just call this Lemon Drop. It just reminds me of that, and then the big shoes and walking down the street. You ever see those people with, like, I know Asian people adore huge platform shoes, but they are kind of fun, right? They're kind of fun and flirty. I realize the flavor of this reading is everywhere with the joyous, light, fun art, and then the soul-punching fairy oracle, because it is life lessons. We need to take looks at ourselves. I read this thing today, and I'm going to find it right now, because this spoke the biggest truth to me. It was about, this is it. It is only by letting go of all your defenses that we become invulnerable. Right? Once we decide we don't have to defend ourselves, who we are, what we like, what our religion is, what our skin color is, where we grew up, how much money we have, we're invulnerable. Who cares? I value your opinion if you're somebody I like and respect, but it doesn't change who I am, and I'm not going to change who I am if you think maybe I should have a different hair color, religion, income, or any of that, right? When we all start to think like that, that's our number one purpose right now, right? Whatever those old grooves are, we are evolving. We are not repeating. We don't care what some teacher, family member, friend, anybody told us years ago. That's not who we are. Someone's opinion of us is not who we are. Remember, we are so powerful, and just not trying to defend any of the things that we think, and just let go of all your defenses, you're invulnerable then. You're not going to argue back. You don't care. Somebody can go on and on and on, because guess what? That brings us to the soul shrinker, right? Because then everybody starts the ill speaking of one another, and we don't need to participate in that. We need to participate in this, which is Dohariel of the Waters. This is going to be beautiful. This is another one I never saw. But yeah, the temperature of this is all over because of it. Art evokes all these things. Like, this is probably one of the best reads I've ever done because of these two forces that are working with me, with guides as well. when I see art, that transports me to another place to begin with. And fairies are one of my favorite topics. And this man, people must have thought I was crazy at work. I carried the big version of this around when I worked at a specialty shop, and I read it every day, and it comforted me. And I'd go down, we had a huge basement, and I'd go down there and I'd read it on my breaks, and I'd carry the book. Just touching it made me happy, because this man is the one that made all the Jim Henson characters in the Dark Crystal, you know, the Skeksis and the beautiful Gelflings. This is him. And his writer, Jessica Macbeth, profound and beautiful. All right, let's see what's going on. But again, too, that's why I want to address this really quick while I'm here. I get this 1 in 1,000 people say things like, Melanie, how come everything is so positive? Is that fair to the readers? And I think that was like the other day. And I'll tell you why. The messages I get, my angels and guides are extremely positive. They know about positive reinforcement. They know, they're the singers of the connection, the spiritual connection between everybody, the light between us all. And their messages they're giving me is to uplift people, to make them feel better about themselves, to let them know they are enough, not to tell them doom and gloom. Because I'm channeling, I'm not emitting any of my fears, any of my past problems, tangles, psychic tangles, I just call them. Any kind of insufficiencies I would have thought in my character are not coming through. I see it in some readers. If it's fear-based and they see the tower, they think it's the end of the world as we know it, which is ridiculous because it's a phoenix card. That's how I see it. You're rising from the ashes. You're beginning anew. We can't just build a palace on top of a garbage heap. You know what I'm saying? So think on that. So I don't care about detractors. If you'd like to say, you never see any negative cards. I consistently have the devil, the tower, and all that. But my interpretation will never be the end of the world as we know it, because it's not how I think. True, I don't suffer illness. I don't suffer problems. I don't suffer regret. I don't suffer any of those things because I just live a fairy life. You know what I mean? Right, honest, happy, and my whole purpose is to build other people up and make them feel good and know the answers are out there. We're all supposed to communicate to get our answers. So it's the last I'm ever going to say on that, so you can always feel free. But all I do when I say anything like that is, boop, you're out in the vapors. If you have something to work out in your psyche, do it. It'll help you. It'll be great. Let's see what's going on with this, ladies. Yeah, I'm not defensive because I don't have time for that. I understand it's your opinion, but I'll never come from a place of fear. That's not what I do to my viewers. It's not what I do to my children. So let's see what Tabaria of the Waters. Emotion, serenity, meditation, gracefully accepting change. For a moment, close your eyes and just let yourself feel the cool, sparkling fairy waters flowing through your fingers. Imagine drinking this sparkly coolness from your own cupped hands, and imagine water flowing down your throat. You may even be able to feel that magical energy-filled coolness flow right through you to your toes. Ah, you feel better? Throughout the world, there are healing wells, both for general health and specific ailments. In modern times, many of their fairy qualities have been diluted, even though Tabaria and her healing helpers do all that they can to keep them clear and potent. Fairy waters reflect emotional state of human people around them. So the fairy waters that come through our world have lessened in purity and in power. In places where people are living especially stressful, aka civilized lives. As one Oracle group member observes, there are profound connections with drinking waters, tears of wells of forgiveness, water as the fluid transformative nutrients of the body, the connective flow. I could flow on and on and on. However, many healing fairies that help Tabaria do the best they can under the circumstances to purify the waters and bring their own merry spirits to give added power to the waters. We can help the fairies by creating more merriment in the lives of others and our own lives. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. And it's so true, right? I don't know what's happening here. Oh my God, I'm going to take this off. I love this because it just reminds me of fairies too. I love green. I think wintergreen is one of my favorite calming things. Very effusive, right? It makes a lot of sense. Civilized especially, right? So let's see what's going on with this. We want to know, we want the scoop, we want the tea. I love that. That phrase wasn't around when I was a child. I want the tea, and I just think it's the best thing. Ooh, the High Priestess. The Fool. Beautiful. I love the Fool in every read. Two of Swords. Thinking. I love the Fool because and the Empress. The Fool to me in every read is always brings lightness and adventure. It's the person who doesn't care what others think. It's the person that wants an adventure, travels light, doesn't have emotional baggage, and is just free as hell. I love the Fool. Every time I see it, I get in a great mood. Okay. So again, all right, who is fantasizing about me and what are they fantasizing? You ever look at somebody and you know they're thinking some hairy thoughts about you and you pause for a moment and you look at them? Yeah, it's that I call it the lecherous look. Like, it's funny. I mean, they don't even have to like up and down you and be taking it all in. There is a look. I can see right into people's minds when that happens. And I usually, like, if it was ever a coworker or whatever, just embarrass the hell out of them for a minute. Like, yeah, people have a little deference towards me anyway when they know what some of the things I can find out. But when I just call them on it, like, you dirty animal, they're like, what? You should do that. I'll tell you at one point, I'll tell you the looks. It's beyond the normal body language of attraction. Okay, so who these people are, it's again, I'm going to go this time with who these people are. Again, these are a lot of coworkers. We spend the majority of our day with people we work with, right? A lot of times we form intimacies, we share stories, life stories, problems, funny gaffes that we have with our relationships, things like that. But again, I'm just going to point this out on a professional level to not overshare in places like that, because friendships and bonds are formed, and when they're unformed, you don't want people to have information you don't want divulged, right? So just keep that in mind. Again, that's one of the reasons that at my places of employment, even if something hysterical happened, I would never overshare, because any private information you wouldn't mind blasted on the news or being put on blast. Just keep to yourselves. Unless you have that one tight girlfriend that you've had from a long time, share with them, or a boyfriend, whatever. Now, what these people are fantasizing about this is super clear. I don't know her name. I think it's Scheherazade. That type of thing where she is taken into harems and she has to tell 1,000 stories to stay alive or something. They were going to put her to death, but she's a master storyteller, an orator. That type of thing. Or belly dancer, Middle Eastern, beautiful type of woman. That's how they're fantasizing of you dancing, and or that you are one of those people that are in charge of those realms. They're not really kings in those days. There's something else for the Arabic type of leader, but they own harems. The man's point of view, they own harems, and you're part of that harem, that too. But a very Scheherazade thing for sure. Also, this is so ridiculous. Also, the other one with this is the maid theory, the funny maid theory, that you're cleaning their home and they just happen upon you while you're cleaning in your French maid outfit, things like that. And with Halloween coming, you should give somebody a scare. Another thing, when I see the High Priestess and the things that I think, again, a gypsy, a person, a fortune teller, people with certain clairaudience, clairvoyance gifts as well. That is the fantasy of some people, because they like to be with people that can have some special spiritual connections. It covers them in a type of grace and light that they feel might not be available to them. That's pretty cool. And again, that you are some sort of elevated lady in society and they work in your stable. So go get a horse, get ready for this. It's on like Donkey Kong. So that's you guys. Very nice. Again, coworkers and friends of friends, for sure. Friends of friends and yeah, but mostly coworkers. And again, patients as well. I feel some of you guys in the medical fields, it's your patients. Patients form a certain kind of bond with psychiatrists, with doctors, with people in the medical field, and healers in general, because they do help them and touch them, and energy is all displaced to heal. And so that's in their traces of that energy and that goodness that you provide for them. So of course they fantasize that you're their rescuer and their helper, and you come to their aid. So that's you guys. So if you guys have to check out, don't forget to like and subscribe. Look at that. That's so beautiful. Yeah, it's like a lollipop. So on all my links below is the Etsy sites for both my jewelry and Elaine's artwork, that we're going to turn these into the oracle cards. All the things are on there, and her art is also for sale, and it's very, very inexpensive right now because she's moving out of the state, and she's just trying to move some art and also just raise some finances. I mean, these paintings are worth much, much more, but they're temporarily going to be priced pretty reasonable. And all my links, if you need a private read, I'm on Instantgo as well, because I know on the weekends a lot of you guys are going on dates, and you just want a little bit of help on that. What's going on? I'm skipping that. So yeah, anything you guys need help in that department, I'm right there. Ooh. Okay, so that you guys, we are now on this. I call this Eve. I'm sure we're going to get all the titles out and marked below them, but I call this Eve. And look at that. Look at the sensuality of that, the body type, the grass growing over her, the apple head, the wisdom. I always associate apples with wisdom, and the snake wrapped around her. So we're going to get to that number 6. I hope you guys really like this. Ian actually came out with the format and the plan. So thank you, Ian, so much, because it was a lot. I was like, how can we really get, I know you guys like the tarot, and I want to thank you, hundreds of people that went to just see the site, but we got one more, and then I'll go into that for a sec. So the Spirit Lancer. So this is the last one. Pointy's been filming and doing the artwork all day, so he's probably like zonked. But this is such a passion. Their stuff is so unbelievable that I would work my fingers to the bone to get this out because it's unbelievable. The Magician. Nice, you guys. 8 of Pentacles. And a few of you will recognize these people that are fantasizing about you. You already have it in your mind. There's certain energy that passes between two people. It's nice when there's some connectivity and you're single and this could actually turn into a reality for you. It's that bond, and there's an energy to pass. And something's funny, when you are facing someone completely face to face, it's a rarity because all 3 chakras, if your root chakra is facing, energy is transmitting messages to one another the whole time. Heart chakra, third eye to one another, and you kind of know in your libido if you're facing somebody. That's why males rarely face females straight head on. Organs to organs, they tilt. Watch that. It's because of that. They don't even know they're doing it because it's so highly sexual. Lovers will do that, married couples would do that, but rarely with a man that you're in business and will face that area, that root chakra to your root chakra, because again, it's highly charged energy zone, I guess. The star. It is true. Really feel it. Just try it out. I'm not trying to turn everybody into sex maniacs, but if anybody is standing, stand directly in front of them and you will feel energy all over in every area of your chakras. So people don't even know inadvertently that they switch their hips away because it is a powerful force. Page of Cups. Okay, this is very, very clear. But first we're going to do your oracle card. And again, I like the flavor and the nuances of this read because it takes us everywhere. It takes us on a journey. We get to see the beautiful art. We get the heavy hitters of, Jessica Macbeth's beautiful writing that is so profound. And really, if I could convey any messages as clearly and as beautifully as anybody, it would be hers, because her writing is absurd. And I'm telling you, I'm going to do my best to pack such a punch in my wording of our oracle cards as this. I mean, I can be a bit of a wordsmith if I put my mind to it. But the thing is to awaken our spirit. Let me just tell you this one thing that I read, and it made me almost cry too. It was saying that the most expensive and rarest fairy dust is that brightens our minds. When I read that in this book, I was like, holy crap, who's ever going to think of a phrase better than that, right? If we can brighten someone's mind, their day, their hope, that avenue of potentiality and zest for life and fantasy land and art and any of that, if you could purchase that fairy dust, what would you pay? Exactly right. It would be priceless. It would be absolutely priceless. That's why you've got to draw people to you that are that fairy dust, that magic, that generator of mood and hope and love and spirituality and goodness and anything that will elevate you. Those people are out there. You can feel them. They're light workers, and there's some people call them earth angels. They're people that speak to our soul, and they're everywhere. And everybody's getting together for a higher purpose right now to elevate the whole frequency of the earth, like on an immense scale. So let's see what she's up to. The Spirit Dancer. Is that even? Yeah, the Spirit Dancer. Oh, I called her the Spirit Lancer. Self-expression, freedom, and exploration. I'm going to call this the Eleni card because her self-expression and freedom is unprecedented. I've never met anybody who's so free. She doesn't care. She cares about the ideas and love and the planet. That's it. She doesn't care what other people think of her, how she looks, acts, or speaks. Half the time we don't know what the hell each other's saying. We just look at each other. I call an old Greek hooker and we start laughing because she knows that word. You know what I mean? It's one of those things. We're based on another level. We existed in another life together, and we knew intrinsically the second we saw each other. And we just, like, I disappeared for a year. I got busy. I was in a darker place working for people I loathed, and I had to stay away from her because our energy is intermingled. And unless I'm on the highest plane and can be helpful and a source of love and light to her, then I stay away because she is receptive to that energy. So I always have to be at my best. And I didn't know this until a couple days ago. Sometimes I don't always listen as a clairaudient. I don't hear what I don't want to hear until I'm ready, and then it comes through. But again, I have to connect to source and ground out. I'm a little hyper as a fire sign. So let's see what she's doing. The spirit dancer understands both sides of self-expression. In the first stage, we get our inner vision, feelings, and creative impulses out in the world through our art. Exactly, right? It's so beautiful to end on. Then our expressions are reflected back to us from the mirror of other people's perceptions, and we discover what our art awakens in them. First and most important for many of us, as we learn, grow, and lead more satisfying lives, and we have ways of expressing our inner world, such expressions can be a way of helping ourselves better understand our feelings and experiences. Or they can be a way of getting pain out of where we can't look at it and we need to heal. Creative expression is a method of exploring our own truths and bringing it into the light so we can see it more clearly, and maintaining sanity. If this sentence didn't come up right now, I would have started to cry. I could feel my nose burn and then I heard the word cryptic, and it's down at the bottom thing, because we're all receiving messages when we can download them and understand them. The key words here are explore, experiment, and express. Absolutely. As this very cryptically remarked at once to an oracle reader, the death of spirit dancer is perfection. Now, how beautiful is that? Let's see who is fantasizing about you really quickly, and then this will be the end of the read. But again, isn't that beautiful? It's profound. And it's funny because every card that was supposed to be here today in this fairy deck has appeared. The first three that I read, and the one that made me cry, that profound message, that she is the spirit dancer with her art and her expression. Dancers as well, they express it. Anybody in the creative arts, they're expressing these things. Now this particular person, this is funny, of the Magi, when we have the Eight of Pentacles, the Magician, the Page of Cups, and the Star. This is funny. So this particular group, I'll get to what they're doing first because that's a stronger message. I'm seeing all of this. These people are seeing you as someone who is of extremely high numeric intellect, like someone who works for NASA, someone who is, you ever see somebody who's I know people like this, they're such high in academia, they're almost socially inept. Because they're so far into their realms of numbers and science, they almost don't know how to speak in the normal realm of man. Like they don't know how to be light, joyous, and free. Yes, so basically when people are so in depth of academia, they have a hard time expressing. So their fantasy is about you being in very high accelerated academia and or like on the level of NASA, a scientist, a thing like that, and you are their mentor, and there's labs involved, and there's experiments involved, and there's things in jars and things in Bunsen burners and all that kind of things. It's like that. So again, this is some of you in academia for sure. These people are other students that you go to school with. These people are professors and other people involved in your university. Okay, and these I see, people see you, this is funny, as a wizard or a high priestess or somebody of that has any of the potentials for magic. People that can pull in magic, people that are, witches, sorcery, things like that, where you can manipulate the elements to do what you want to do, like fire, the fire dancers, the water sylphs, things of that magnitude. And again, they're picturing it back in the days of Merlin. This is their fantasy. You are in another realm. It is another time frame, Arthurian legends, stuff like that. But you are a manipulator of the elements and have a very magical persona. The last group, it's involved, it's funny, I believe it's more of a spiritual kind of fantasy, in like the Tibetan monk type of thing, that you are a female that has infiltrated their particular place of worship, and you're hidden underneath robes and garbs and things like that, but you are an extremely sexy number in this place, and they know you're there, and they're the only person that knows you're there, that type of thing, you know what I mean? And again, the old days of too, where they had Franciscan monks, that is, well, they're Franciscan monks, and you are in their area, in their place of worship, disguised as a man as well. And they are the only person that knows that. These people, they are people in your church. Funnily enough, they have a fixation on religious fantasies, you know, hence the monks, the priests and things like that, and you being in that area. People get bored in church. What are you going to do? You might as well fantasize about some hot lady or some hot man in there. Yeah, you wouldn't believe what goes on in church. I'm sure you already know. And again, these are people in your clubs. I hear clubs. I hear gyms. These are people in your gyms for the star one. Yeah, and the magician. People in your gym, people in your university, people in your church, and a few co-workers as well. So they guys got all these juicy people all over the place getting up to all kinds of magic in their head, all these great imaginings. So what I would like to do now is just offer my most sincerest thank you.